We now welcome in a 7-time NBA All-Star, a 2-time NCAA champion, and co-owner and executive for the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA, whose new book, Game, an autobiography, is out now. The one and only Grant Hill. Welcome to Stephen A's World. What's up, big time? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Good. The finals were great. Season's over.
Yeah.
And I'm on Stephen A's show, so it can't be much better.
I appreciate it. Listen, man, I can't wait to ask you about Coach K, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later as this interview progresses. But I got to first get your thought. Of course, I'm going to talk to you about your book. But first, I got to ask you about the Warriors winning their 4th NBA championship in 8 years. What do you think of this run by the Golden State Warriors, man?
Well, this run is truly a dynasty. And, obviously we saw what they did up until 2019, the injuries, the whole situation they went through to get back. Incredible. I don't know if a lot of people saw this coming. I know you were one of the early believers for this ball club, but a difficult season, but to get back to the top of the mountain, great basketball, great culture, great character in that locker room. And once again, that institutional knowledge, that experience, I think really served them well. And you really have to tip your hat and applaud the Warriors organization, players, coaches, everybody. Fantastic.
It's a given Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. Ain't nobody going to debate that. But how do you assess if after this championship run, Steph has elevated himself into being a top 10 player in NBA history? Where do you stand with that right now after watching what you've watched in these NBA finals?
You know, he has to be in that conversation a bit. There's so many guys who are so deserving, but I think what he's done in sort of leading this team, you didn't have Klay Thompson. A lot of people question whether Steph could get back to that level of 2015, 2016, that MVP-like performance that he had those 2 years. He's older now, and he's shown that he's still got it. And on this stage in the finals, Stephen A. had his best performance, minus that one game, Game 5, back in San Francisco. But yeah, I mean, he's his resume. When you look at his resume, and the thing is, he's not done yet. I mean, he still, I think, has an opportunity to not just put up all-star games and certain accomplishments, but this team has a realistic chance of getting back here and winning it again next season.
I'm going to come back to you on Steph Curry and the Warriors, and of course I'm going to ask you about Boston before this interview's over. But I want to transition to your book, the Game, an autobiography. I want to talk about that for a second. I want to know what inspired you to write this book and what you have to say, because when we talk about legacies, I've often told people Grant Hill had an ankle problem. He had that nasty injury that you could never really recover from. When I think about you, I'm not going to lie to you. I think about Vince Carter. I think about Kobe Bryant. I think about Michael Jordan. You had that kind of game, my brother. It was something special to behold when you were fully healthy. Talk to me about this autobiography and the kind of things that you say in here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that compliment. I had a crazy journey, great success, team success at Duke, Detroit those years, and then some really dark moments, concerns about whether I'd play again. And then coming back, later as a role player. And then so getting into the Hall of Fame in 2018, I think that really sparked this idea of like, okay, let me reflect, let me tell my story. There's a lot that people don't know, particularly with my injury, some of the challenges I had early in my career, some of the behind the scenes accounts of what happened when I was in Detroit and I was sort of an elite player. But you know what? It was a great process. I feel like I learned a lot about myself. It was also at times hard. It's hard to confront certain things. It's hard to be honest with yourself. But ultimately, it was therapeutic. It was liberating, and at times frightening to go back and relive and remember some of those good and bad moments throughout my career.
Grant Hill, when you think about your life and your career, I mean, you've got wonderful parents, wonderful family, wonderful wife. I mean, you are one of the truly blessed individuals on this planet Earth that people really, really knew who surround you, and you're one of the best people I know I've ever met. I asked this question in all honesty. It would seem that an injury is the only thing that is regrettable when it comes to looking at your life. But knowing you, I know better. So I ask this question, as you reflect, whether it's college or pros or thereafter, what's the biggest thing you regret about the wonderful life that Grant Hill has had?
Well, there's a few things I probably regret. I think, first of all, trusting my instincts as it related to my injuries, instead of trusting doctors and others. I think that's one thing I regret. Look, I think first of all, I appreciate you saying that. I think I've had a very blessed life, very fortunate, my upbringing, my parents, all of that. In the book, I get into, even with all of those advantages, all of those privileges, I still had stuff. I still had things I was dealing with. I had lack of confidence issues. I had issues about wanting to stand out. I stuttered. I had a lot of things that, insecurities. And so to be introspective and to be revealing and to kind of take down that armor and be authentic and transparent and sort of present, my strengths and my flaws. That was something that took me a minute to get used to, or the idea of that. But yeah, I felt it was important that, look, no matter who we are, no matter what we go through, we have stuff, we have baggage, and we have things we're dealing with. And I tried to share that, understanding the privileges that I've had and continue to have with my life.
Last question on the book. When we walk away from reading this book, what's the number one message you'd like us to walk away absorbing from reading your autobiography?
Stephen A., I've read a lot of books, a lot of biographies. I always come away inspired. And I think learning about people, their journey, their walks, what they've gone through, what they've endured, how they got to that level. I feel like there's always something you can take from that and be inspired about. And so that's the main thing, just to try to, hopefully inspire others. Also, just, tell my journey. Hopefully people get to know me a little bit more, know what I've been through, good, bad, and indifferent. But yeah, just inspire. That's the main thing. And, hopefully someone can take from this story and from this book what I've taken from so many others along the way.
Let me get back to the basketball court before I let you get on out of here, and lean on that theme of inspiration. I look at the Golden State Warriors. I look at an ownership that's willing to spend the money and give them the tools they need to win. I look at a coaching staff led by Steve Kerr and the job that he's done. I look at Bob Myers and his leadership in the management office, along with Joe Lacob's son Kirk. I'm thinking about the players led by obviously Steph Curry. I think they should inspire a lot of people to embrace a brand of team basketball, and that we may need to see more of as next season and future seasons approach. I've got the Warriors going back to the NBA Finals next year. What do you view the Warriors as being next season?
Well, hopefully they're playing the Hawks. I think you're right, Stephen. Hey, look, this team, you have the big three, Draymond, Steph, and Clay, and obviously they've won before. But the rest of the team, the others, they now have that institutional knowledge. They know what it takes to win, to be a champion. They've gone through it and they've figured it out. I think those guys will be better. I think Andrew Wiggins, we saw him emerge during this postseason against Luka Doncic, playing great defense, going at him on the offensive end. Of course, in this series, doing a great job on Tatum. I think he will feel more comfortable and more confident in who he is and his role with this team. Klay Thompson, he went through a devastating, and look, I know about injuries. It's hard to come back in the middle of the season and insert yourself, trying to find your rhythm, your confidence, your timing, while everybody else is in midseason form. I said, when he came back, I said, if he can get through this year healthy and have an off season to prepare, he'll be back better the next season. So I believe Klay Thompson will be better and more consistent next season. I also think the young guys. I mean, you look at Jordan Poole, his emergence, Porter, Wiseman. We haven't even talked about James Wiseman. I mean, if he can be
Yeah.
healthy and slowly learn throughout the regular season and get better and be ready for them going into the postseason, they have to be everybody's favorite right now. It's a scary, proposition for everybody else.
Yeah.
But this team is for real. Steph is taking great care of himself. His fitness level's off the charts. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. They have to be the favorites to get back, not just to get to the finals, but to win it.
Can't let you get out of here without talking about you being an executive for the Atlanta Hawks. How has that been for you, man? And what does it mean to you to be in that kind of executive position? Because obviously I think that's something that needs to be diversified even more so moving forward in the future. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, just, working with the Hawks and obviously in the ownership role, Tony Ressler, Jamie Gertz, our managing partners. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's incredibly difficult. We all want to win. We want to be successful, as do 29 other teams and franchises. But to be in Atlanta, to represent that community, to work to build an emotional connection with our fans, and ultimately put a great product, a championship-worthy product on the floor, that's the goal and that's the objective. And so we've worked hard. We're excited about where we've been and what we've done, but also what's in store for the future. And you're right. Look, the NBA of all the professional sports leagues is probably the most progressive. We have, I think, half our coaches now
Yes.
are African American. We have
15.
diversity in front
15.
office. 15 of them are African American. We have diversity in front offices. We have diversity in ownership groups. And I would bet Adam Silver, Mark Tatum, Kathy Behrens, our leadership, would want even more diversity and are pushing for that. So I'm proud to be a part of that, also knowing that we still got a long ways to go. But Atlanta, I'm proud of our franchise, and we got a lot of work. We're rolling our sleeves up. We got to the conference finals last year. We didn't have the year we wanted, but we're committed to trying to make that and change that and get back to that championship level that at least we flirted with last season.
Last question: what are your Duke Blue Devils going to do now that Coach K has decided to step away after 40-plus years at the helm? What y'all going to do next year with Mr. Jon Scheyer?
Well, it's tough. You can never replace an icon like Coach K. And whether you loved Duke or hate Duke, you have to respect what Duke and most importantly what Coach K has done. Jon Scheyer has done a great job with recruiting, has the #1 recruiting class coming in next season and the #1 recruiting class the following season. So he's been able to connect with these young players and has had great success for someone who hasn't coached a game yet as head coach. But, we're all excited. We're hopeful. We've had a great run, and we hope that we can continue to be relevant and continue to be successful. It won't be easy. Other teams, other franchises are licking their chops. I will say this, and I don't normally give that school in Chapel Hill credit, but Hubert Davis did a great job replacing a legend in Roy Williams, and you see what he did last season, getting almost to the championship. So it's inspiring to see Hubert do that, and we hope that we can do the same at Duke with Jon Scheyer.
Be sure to purchase Game and Autobiography wherever you purchase your books.